to Pointing Patel. Hope you're keeping well. Yeah, just considering about Rishi Sunak and situation at the moment. The wife of Rishi Sunak provides him recourse to the about 730 million pounds of unearned family wealth. This way, he sort of presents himself as unmoved with the plight of those who are so financially distant from him, so that he appears to reside on another planet. Being comfortably off is not this, as many may know the phrase. He's the oligarch's oligarch, to be honest. Um, it is a problematic issue here because he's perpetually subservient to the demands of big capital. And as we know, in the UK, when it talks about big capital, we are talking about the nation's tabloid newspapers that gets run by three organizations who are disinterested with the general public of the UK, basically 67 million people. Now, we talk about that. Obviously, we should talk about what does that entail. I mean, obviously, it entails poverty in terms of people who actually are residing in the UK. So it's really funny because coming to the point where the poverty can only be assessed by two different methods in particular. I mean, you're relatively poor compared to average citizens based on the government of the country in which you live in, and that is very unique way of putting it, because obviously not every country has the same wealth, same state, same inflation rates, same way the country is run, same way the taxes are, and etc. etc. To be fair. And then obviously there's the other side of this story, which actually gives away saying, right, okay, so what is the other way of pinpointing this out? So the other way is obviously the first way gives away that it is based on the people around you. So it makes you really wonder how poor you really are. And then there is another way of looking at it, which is very unique, because if you think about it, it is not as different as it could be in the previous case. So in terms of when you actually consider that you're literally poor because of the way the government has actually put you with regards to your expenses comparatively against how you're able to put your money aside and how you're able to survive throughout that period of time when you're actually suffering those inflations or market rates, all that sort of stuff, you are suffering one way or the other. That is where the other part comes in. So when we talk about the other part, we have to be realistic about it, because the absolute poverty is a universal objective condition that denotes poverty. In other words, you're indigent in comparison to everyone else. Give some time to sink in, like really think about it for a minute. There are more and more billionaires in our society than there ever used to be, and they are getting richer by the day. We don't need their tax or donations or charity or anything like that. What we need is to recapture the understanding that we can alter the structure that makes this change happen, that makes this change work in our favor. Now, Mr. Sunak was obviously widely criticized, including within his own party, for not doing enough to prepare the country's progress. It was estimated that in the absence of greatest support, 1.3 million people fall into absolute poverty. And this is not, obviously, this is not my view. This has been said by the criticism against him. And that is actually something very important for us to understand, because, I mean, it gives away on what condition he is actually, what situation he is actually portraying when he is standing up. I was standing out there and pointing out, we will sort the issue out. Well, yeah, that's what you said at the time of pandemic, when you said to us to eat out to help out. It turns out to be totally opposite of helping out. I mean, I'm just linking the two because I don't trust you, sorry, but given your past, I mean, why would you even think of blaming me if I don't trust you? Because you had that past. It's under your name. You own it. You should own it because that's you. You are the one who has done it to us. During COVID, you said you tried to help out, and that didn't work out, and we was actually struggled instead of helping out, and that's where we were back then. So now, of course, his scant plans for the worse off were deemed in the Times of London to be insufficient, efficient, and conservative. Because it was a fitting capstone for his tenure. It was an appropriate conclusion to his term, which was marked by a narrow and superficial concern for others. Because it's not, I mean, it is not, to be very fair, it's not a great moment to have impartial leadership over the nation. I mean, it is bizarre. It really is. It's over 10%, over 10% inflation is at the moment taking place, and we as Britons are expected to basically suffer the largest loss in discretionary income since records have begun. And basically, significantly degrading living standards. Demand for food banks, as we know, is reportedly outpacing supply for the first time. Blackouts of energy could occur in January, which is obviously one of the highlights of the situation right now within the country. We know that we have had some back and forth, up and downs last week, where we were not sure about what was happening, and it is just outrageous. I mean, it's just totally out of control. This is just not going to help any one of us. I mean, it's just totally out of order. And the most ironic thing is the matter of the fact that after an additional bill rise, the number of individuals in fuel poverty may exceed 10.7 million in April. Now, waiting for an ambulance is a real danger to life. The economy is weak, and it will likely have the worst inflation and slowest growth among the group of 7 countries in 2019. Are we? I mean, where are we? Are we kidding ourselves? We are nowhere near G7. We are not comparing to them. We are making it worse. And then I was looking at this LinkedIn post. There was news, obviously, through it saying the energy prices are going that up because those companies are able to charge whatever they want, basically, and that is the problem. Because when they tend to charge whatever they want, they will charge whatever they want. Because obviously, it's a necessity of life that you have to have gas and electricity. And if they give the opportunity that they would charge whatever they want, what makes us think that they wouldn't? They would make money out of our backs. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? And that is the problem, because if they are allowed that, that is the government allowing it. It's not by legitimacy that the price have gone that much up. It's just the fact that the government is actually supplying these people an opportunity to be able to charge those hikes. And that would not change. Like I said before, unless or until we oust each and every person from each and every party of each and every opposition or within the government or whatever sitting in the House of Commons, I would like to oust each and every individual from that place, put them out completely, and ask them if they can survey to prove themselves out there. National minimum wage, work as hard as others are doing, be a single mother, single father, and prove yourself to be extra relevant to the society you live in, where where you're meant to work more than 40 hours a week, where you cannot afford to be able to lose any money in terms of how you actually manage your own finances and all that sort of stuff. That is what it's meant to be. This man, Rishi Sunak, is for the rich only. He has made some serious changes that can have some serious impact on our lives, security, and all sorts of stuff. And I have no idea, no clue how we're going to control ourselves unless we want to oust them out. Because they are choosing themselves to be the part of the problem rather than part of the solution. And we are not dealing with just a problem. We are dealing with problem makers and the problem at the same time. And every time we tell them about it, turn and say, oh, it's the Labour to be blamed. Just don't buy into it. It's just total felony. They are playing devil's advocate. That's what they are doing. Anyway, that's all for now from Poetry Potato. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. See you next time. Take care.